listen, I'm a big supporter of the police. Barry is in for Bruce. What I always tell Bruce and everybody is I always start on the side of police whenever there's an incident. And I'm unapologetic for it.
I think I need to say I'm a big supporter of the police, too. I don't want to, like, you're a big supporter and I'm not.
not saying you're not. Yeah, definitely not. I'm not going to. I didn't mean to insinuate that. No, I'm not Kerry Lake when it comes to Ruben Gallego, and I need to insinuate. But for me, I do start on the side of police. But when we look at the latest incident, there's just no way. There's no way that you can back the cops on this. There's body cam footage. We're watching two police officers repeatedly punching and tasing a man. He's deaf. It all started when the cops were called out to a Circle K. There was some white guy that was like loitering or what have you, right? So they took the white guy out of the establishment. The white guy goes, "Hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's that black guy over there across the street. He assaulted me." The cops went across the street after letting the white guy go. And it looked like they just jumped out of the car and tackled the guy. And let's talk about it because what are these two police officers still there? It's tough. Joining us right now is Kevin Robinson, Phoenix City Councilman. Also, he was 36 years of law enforcement experience. He joins the show. Kevin, nice to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I should say Councilman Robinson because I've talked to you off the air, and I call you Councilman Robinson. Want to make sure that I'm all right. So,
okay.
What happened? What's the deal? And should these two police officers be fired because this just looks atrocious?
Well, it does look bad. The optics, there's nothing good about it. I think everyone recognizes that. Everybody that has seen it. And gauging by the number of emails, text messages, and phone calls I've received about it, people feel pretty much the same way, that it was overly aggressive. Now, what I have said, I put out a statement yesterday that says, there is an investigation. I expect the investigation to be thorough. I expect it to be done in a timely manner. I expect to have all the facts at the conclusion of that investigation, which will then allow us to arrive at a conclusion as to whether or not these officers were out of policy, in policy, partially out of policy, whatever. But I don't want to say good, bad, or indifferent until the investigation has been concluded, because the officers have a right to that process.
Phoenix City Councilman Kevin Robinson joins us on KTAR. Councilman, and I appreciate what you're saying. You're right. We need to see the full investigation and understand what happened, but it just looks so odd from the video that I'm curious what could possibly have caused this to escalate as quickly as it did with these police officers. Several Arizona legislators are calling on the city to drop the charges against this gentleman. Has there been any progress, to your knowledge, about getting those charges dropped?
That I do not know. I purposely kept a distance from those types of things because I would like to ensure, because at one point or another, I'm going to weigh in on this as the chairperson of our Public Safety and Justice Committee. I will be asked to weigh in, and it's only appropriate for me to wait until all the information is out there, and whatever the charging decisions are, those are made by, be it the county attorney or the city prosecutor, whomever. But I don't want to taint that in any way, shape, or form. What I will say is what we saw, and everyone that's seen it, it's a national story now, and I understand that. What we saw was it was tough to watch. I don't know how else to phrase it. It was very tough to watch. And police use of force is never pretty. It just isn't. And I'm trying to keep that in the back of my mind as I wait for more information as to the totality of all the circumstances surrounding this incident.
Kevin Robinson is joining us, Phoenix City Councilman, also 36 years in law enforcement, the incident with the Phoenix Police Department. Here's the first 13 seconds of audio, and we'll just refresh everybody's mind. They pull up in two different police cars to this man in a parking lot, and this is how it sounded.
Hey, buddy, stop where you're at. Have a seat. Tase him.
So tase him. The thing that disturbed me the most was it was just kind of a flippant, hey, buddy, can you hang on a second? And you can hear the door open.
Hey, buddy, stop where you're at.
All right, you see that? Now listen for the door to open. Door's open, and then it's a second, and he's on the guy.
Have a seat.
That's way too fast. Like, tell me what the protocol is supposed to be.
Well, each and every situation, I don't know that you can have a set of standards that you will use, but there should be caution when you're approaching anybody. If the officers believe that he is involved in some kind of criminal activity, you should use caution in approaching the individual. And you want to make sure, you want to announce yourself, you want to demonstrate that you have the authority, they're in uniform, all those types of things. And you can approach the person that way. And what you're doing, in my mind, and how I practiced for many years, is, you approach someone and you're watching to see what their behavior is. And what they do will dictate what you do as a police officer. And in this case, you're right. Things happen very quickly. And I wish I could explain it more completely, but I can't yet, at least not until I've had a chance to review the investigation.
Kevin Robinson joins us, Phoenix Police City Councilman. Kevin, if I can ask you, we're all aware of the Department of Justice investigation into the Phoenix Police Department. They've come out with their report. I know there's discussions between the DOJ and the city. How does this affect that negotiation and whether or not the Phoenix Police Department will end up with a DOJ monitor?
Well, I have been told that the DOJ has this video. They're aware of it. I do not think it bodes well for us. I'm just being honest. We keep saying that we are a self-correcting, a self-assessing organization, and I believe we are. But situations like this, based on what we see, and again, I don't have all the information yet, I think it's going to give the Department of Justice, if you want to look at it this way, a little bit more ammunition from their standpoint. And, I hope that we are able to, once the investigation is complete, we're able to demonstrate, what we're doing about the incident, whatever may come from the whole thing. And I hope that's equally as important to the Department of Justice.
The incident took place August 19th. Why did it take until yesterday for Police Chief Sullivan to speak out about this? That's a long time in between.
It is. And again, I had mentioned I'm the chair of the Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee. That is a question I've asked of city management to find out for me, why did it take so long for us on the council to find out about it. This is I think anyone watching this use of force would understand right away that this is going to be newsworthy. And if it's newsworthy, we should know about it in advance. And when we know about it in advance, you can at least find out what all is going on, why it happened. We'd be able to answer questions because, I prefer when someone calls and asks a question about something, I prefer to be able to answer it.
Phoenix City Councilman Kevin Robinson, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm glad that he came out and spoke about this. It's important for the leaders in our community to come out and say something. And really, there's no one better than Councilman Robinson. The guy was in law enforcement for so many years. And, usually we don't want to jump to conclusions. We want to know what happened. But there's so much video. It's so obvious they took the word of some white guy who they were there to remove him from a Circle K, and the guy goes, well, I didn't do anything, but that black guy over there did. And then the two cops rush over there and tackle this guy. Yeah. It just, the whole thing is disgraceful.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look good, and I appreciate Councilman Robinson saying, I want to see the investigation. I want to make sure we're getting to the bottom of it. We have all the information before he really comes out. I think that's the responsible, correct thing to do. But certainly, as he also said, when you look at that video and you watch what we've seen, Gaydos, it's very, very difficult to understand how or what explanation there could be to make this okay.
Yeah, and the people that are most angry about what happened are police officers. Yeah. The good ones are looking at this and they're saying, that is not what we do.
Well, and as he just said, the bigger issue for, I think, all of us is the Department of Justice investigation and whether the Phoenix police are going to have a monitor. And as the councilman just said, this does not help. No. This puts us in a much worse position.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.